What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
We're ritualists again tonight.
Hashtag ritualist.
Yeah, and I don't want to dog on him too bad. Just big shout out to him and his brother right now. I don't want to say any more than that.
Yep. Nope. I'm with you on that.
But I do want to give him a shout out and good vibes and thoughts, prayers, whatever is needed. And we'll leave it at that. And Rich will be back with us on another day.
Hopefully when we do the bracket of good.
Yeah, so today we're joined again by Brooks. He loved it so much the first time, or at least said he did. He's joining us again. I don't know. Maybe he's just like, hey, you know what? This podcast sucks without me. So
I didn't
maybe that's
hate it. Let's say it that way.
I think what it is it's kind of like a car crash where he can't look away, and now he's kind of addicted to it. He's like, dude, this is fucking terrible. I love it.
It's just fun.
So,
it's just fun.
now it's cool. We had a fun first episode with you, and I'm glad you're back around and wanting to do it again, and hopefully we'll continue this down the road in the future. But a couple of years ago, me, Bob, Rich, and our buddy Bink ran through a multi-episode thing called the Bracket of Bad, which was really a fun theory concept at the time. But what we failed to realize is that it took forever to get through, and it just turned into an absolute train wreck at times. But it was really fun to do. And so, Bink kind of brought the idea back. He's like, we got to do something like that again. That was fun. Of course, he no-shows this episode. But that was typical of us trying to get it done back then, too, because it took 6 months to get it done. But now Bob throws an idea out and is like, how about the bracket of good? And I acted like he won the lottery with that idea. But as a kind of a refresher, when we did that, we had these topics picked of video games, music, which were, in the guise of musicians or bands, movies, and like a wild card, kind of like anything goes. And these were all things that we had picked 4 apiece. So each of these topics had 16 things in it. And then we sat and just discussed and, kind of voted against and eventually ended up with a grand champion. Well, I'd love to do that again using the bracket of good, but we need to kind of streamline this and include more people too. So that's why Brooks is here. Eventually Rich will be back and Bink will be back on. And I threw it out to Danielle and maybe whoever else, if, we can get, but maybe like pick 1 or 2 apiece or something like that. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah. Who was the grand champion of shit?
I thought it was Florida.
I think I thought it was too. I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Your pure hatred of Florida won it out for everything.
So was it just a general statement of the shittiness of Florida, or what?
It was just like, it's too crowded, it's too hot, there's hurricanes. It's just a pile of shit. Bob
was always the one things that I remember having that conversation, especially when you were down there. There's no change of season.
Right.
Especially where you were at. And I knew growing up, or we all did, we had great changes of season. Which is funny, Brooks, where you're at now. I don't know that you really experience that yourself.
It's kind of the same here. We don't get you don't get cold winters. I mean, you'll get rain, but that's pretty much it. The summers are hot. Like you'll get 105, 110, but it's dry. It's not like Florida, where everywhere you go, you have to have air conditioning on. Otherwise, you just die from the humidity and the heat.
Yeah. I mean, one of our seasons is just tornadoes. So,
yeah.
I mean,
you have 5 seasons. You have summer, winter, fall, spring, and tornadoes.
We had, and I'm not kidding you, within about a 6-week time span, we had 2 tornadoes come a mile or less. And going back to that time in March, 6 weeks, or maybe not even 6 weeks, we had temperatures around 0. So 0, and then it just all of a sudden gets to be 75 degrees, and that's how we end up with the tornado. So it's crazy. So where we all grew up, though, we had that. And so I think that was really the crux of why Florida ended up, winning it out on that. But I don't know. What do you think about those topics we did though? Or is that cool to kind of stick to? Or do you guys have any other thoughts? Or
I think we kind of have to balance it out. We got to bring balance to the force.
I think that's fair. I know I had another thought too. Like maybe, we can discuss some things that, maybe don't make the bracket itself, but like honorable mentions, because there's certain things that I think to us, there's got to be something that we pick that multiple people end up picking. To me, that would have to make it in, right? So,
well, I think that's kind of how we did it with the bracket of bad, wasn't it? Where like we actually each picked 6 things in case other people overlapped, and then that way we had backups.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then you went from there.
But yeah, we're gonna do that here in the near future. I think we should separate out those episodes again. Maybe do a video game, a music, movies, and then the anything goes, and then we'll bring it back together.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fun, and I think it'll be fun to kind of get more people involved with it too. Especially whenever you have times where you can't get everyone together. If you can't make a certain one, but you picked things for it. Well, I'm sorry.
Oh shit, Sherlock.
Yeah. You got to be present.
Oh shit, Sherlock.
Exactly. You got to be present to vote. So I love it. But no, I love that concept, and I think we wanted to kind of bring that back around. It turned into just this train wreck the first time we did it, but some part of it was so fun though, because of being a train wreck. So.
I mean, what is less? No, what is more fun than a train wreck?
Yeah, well, that's pretty much all of our episodes anymore. So,
2 train wrecks.
I will say this: I've recorded an episode with Luke Sager, the storm predictor, who we affectionately call Skippy, and I thought this was going to be just I got to really watch it. I think I had to edit it like the first few seconds and the last few seconds. And it was a clean episode all the way through. I don't think either of us cursed. I don't think 40 minutes of just straight normal interview.
So what you're telling me is we finally had a family-friendly episode.
Yeah, I actually, when I uploaded it, I did not click. Like. Yeah, I did not click explicit content. First time in 265 episodes.
That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good streak going.
Yeah. And it was broken by Skippy. I want you to think about that for a second.
Really?
The weather guy broke it?
Mm-hmm. I was shocked. But that was fun. It was he was very professional and it was cool. We had a good conversation. So but no, let's talk. Brooks, you had some cool ideas, man. What's been on your mind?
Well, I read what you did, and I kind of got a gist of it from our chats as to how you decided on the topics. And I was like, what are kind of the things that I'm interested in that I think other people, especially from our age, would be able to jump on with. And that's why I went with the Cold War stuff, because there's so many things like that were in the 80s and when the Soviet Union was the bad guy, right? And it's all coming back again with Russia invading Ukraine. Like the Russians are still the bad guys. Like this stuff still applies, right? So I've been reading a lot of books on that stuff. And there's old school movies and stuff like that. Some of them are funny. Like I was thinking about Spies Like Us with Chevy Chase, right? Where they like go in and they have to I don't know, they have to like disarm a weapon or something like that, and they don't know that they're not the real spies. And I thought that'd be something fun to go over. Movies from that stuff.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I was talking about it on military duty the other day, and like 3 people were like, "That movie's awesome," and I'm like, "Okay, all of you are old, just so you know that,
right?" It's true. It's true.
Yeah. And then I did the health stuff. So like me and Kaya and I are like super health conscious, and we're trying to push that stuff on the kid and whatnot. And there's a lot of trendy stuff. My brother is doing the hard 75 right now. Josh is doing the hard 75. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
No. What is that?
I didn't know what it was either until like I heard about it on social media, and then he mentioned that he's doing it at, like pretty much the same week. It was kind of creepy, but it's a you have to drink a gallon of water a day. It's for 75 days. It's like a discipline check. It's like whether or not you can stay focused on something for 75 days straight. You have to work out twice a day. The workout is very broad on what they say is a workout, right? So you can do cardio, you can do weightlifting, just something to get out. At least one of the workouts has to be outside. So if you want to go run outside or bike outside or play tennis or basketball or whatever it is, as long as it's outside, it counts. They have to be separated by 3 hours. So you have to like work out in the morning and then at least 3 hours later, do another workout. You have to stick to whatever diet you want for 75 days. So if you want to cut carbs, you stick to that diet. So it's very like a plug and play. It's a framework, and then you kind of plug in what you want. And so he's doing it right now, and it looked really cool. I think I kind of do some of it already, but I don't think I'm disciplined for all of it. Like, I mean, you guys saw me earlier. Like, I got a glass of wine here, so I'm not like cutting it. You have to cut out alcohol too for 75 days.
Nope.
I don't think I'll make it, dude. I'm not going to make it. So, yeah, I was talking about that stuff, and then finance and money stuff. So, I don't know about you guys, but like none of my financial like things that I've learned were ever taught to me, and they should be. Like, I didn't even understand retirement accounts and IRAs and like tax advantage stuff. Like, I didn't know about any of that stuff till I was like in my 30s, because it's just not taught. And so that, I mean, it's kind of a boring topic, but there are some interesting things here and there that people might be able to learn from it. And then the last one I put on there was literally me in class last night. Student was struggling with a PC, right? And I was like, and it kind of dawned on me that the generation now, the younger generation, they haven't had to use like a full PC like we did. They didn't have a Mac. They didn't need a MacBook. They didn't need a Dell laptop or a desktop or anything like that. Their entire internet experience is via mobile device. And so they literally do everything with touch screens and all of that. And so I was like, it kind of, the light bulb went off, figuratively speaking, where I was like, they don't understand like what the back end is like for all of these things. And we were talking about the RF spectrum. I'm not going to bore you guys with it, but let's talk about radios. And like nobody uses a regular radio in their car anymore, right? So none of them knew what I was talking about when I talk about like you filter out frequencies. 96.3 is the megahertz and they were all like blank stares. And I'm like, oh my God, you people don't know what an AM FM radio is. I just realized it. And so, yeah, that kind of light bulb went off, and
Yeah, and that was the one that you texted us earlier, and I saw that in the doc, and I was like, I really want to dive into this one. And I think future episodes, man, I think you're right. I think we can do a deep dive into some finance, money stuff. And you're right, stuff like that is, and health stuff even, they're kind of boring. I think the Cold War stuff that'd be awesome. I'd love to dive into that. I kind of need to get myself kind of a refresher on that. But the one that you just said, though, about the current generation's electronic limitations, it really speaks to me too. Make no bones about it. I've worked for a school district in technology capacity now for almost 2 decades. But like you guys, we were born and raised with it. I mean, my dad was the first systems administrator for a major Air Force base from the late 70s into the early 80s. So I literally grew up with it. And I know you guys did too. And you're right. I mean, it's crazy. I remember seeing, we used to run analytics a lot deeper on how people would access our website for school. And early on, it was very 80-20, very desktop driven. And then as time really got on, that flipped completely. I would say now it's more 20-80, where you've got 20. And when I say the 20, it's almost crazy that we're almost thinking about the big iPad Pros as almost, because they come with the detachable keyboards and stuff, kind of a quasi desktop experience, because most everyone now is just using the phone. So it's
right. I call them pseudo PCs, right? It's like the the Surface Pros and the iPads with the big keyboard. Like
Right.
it's just a miniaturized replacement of what we grew up with.
But yeah, I don't know, Bob. But any thoughts on this one? Because I think this is interesting.
So I actually have the iPad Pro with the detachable keyboard and everything. And the funny thing is, it has the iPad or the MacBook Air processor in it. So it is essentially, like you said, like a pseudo PC. Like it is. It has the architecture in it. Granted, it doesn't have like, discrete. It doesn't have like its own dedicated graphics card and all that stuff. But for basic web browsing, remember when netbooks were a thing? Like, it's infinitely more powerful than a netbook, and hell, our phones are infinitely more powerful than a netbook. But like, the Miko was infinitely more powerful than a netbook. But
hey, Brooks did his homework and looked up who Tommy Tallarico was.
I did.
But yeah, man, it's crazy how to think like back in the day we were all so excited when we would get a new graphics card or we would get I got a wireless network card. I can plug it into my computer and we would put that stuff in ourselves. And now you can't. There's nothing you can do with this. You're not putting stuff in it.
That's the great thing too. Like I love that when I first started, I can't tell you how many PCs I cracked open and swapping hard drives and putting in graphics cards and switching out NICs and doing everything I possibly could and having a reseat RAM because it was something stupid. That was like a normal thing that you did. And now it's like it's funny. I feel really bad for saying this, but our program at our district is one-to-one Chromebooks and has been for many, many years. And it's gotten to the point now where and I really feel really bad for saying this, but it's almost like this. At a certain point, it's just disposable. There is no cracking it open. We will maybe replace a battery here and there, or reset a keyboard, or something. Maybe crack it open to look at the things are so tough to work on anymore that it's not efficient. It's just better for us to maybe just go purchase more because by the time
it's not cost effective to fix it anymore.
No, whereas back in the day with a PC, we'd buy it and it's like, oh yeah, this will go 10 years because I can keep upgrading the storage and the RAM and the motherboard. Even I could swap that out and have the same case. There's people now that it's funny. I look at some of the I'm sure you guys have seen it, like some of the mods they use all these old cases from like the mid 90s and they jack it up with high-end stuff and it looks funny, but
like liquid cooling and stuff
but when we were doing it though, we would have a PC that would last a longer time because we would just do upgrades. And I think that's lost now unless you're a gamer, like a pure gamer, no matter how old you are, unless you're of that ilk, I think that's lost on a lot of people that are maybe 30 and younger.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of. I have like a 2006 desktop here that I've turned into a Linux box, and I threw a bunch of old RAM in it so that I could have like a game server for whatever I wanted, and like that's still sitting here. Like it has an old like TI or an NVIDIA 1080 Ti or something sitting in it, right? And it's just sitting there doing nothing because to get it. But I have like a gaming PC that's still a desktop that I could swap things out if I wanted to. But it was actually more cost effective for me to just buy a packaged gaming PC than it was to try to buy all the piece parts and put it together myself.
Isn't that wild? That's absolutely wild. And that's kind of where we're at though. It's like that, hey, I just walk into a store and hey, it's all right there for me and it's easier, right? I mean,
yeah.
And I think that's what, part of the fall that, we're talking about as far as the younger generation not understanding certain things that way. I think a lot could be still taught just, hey, bring in an open desktop and just explain the parts, because at the end of the day, those parts are still going to be in some form or fashion in your laptop, in your phone, just more compact, so, I don't know. I see that sometimes too with, myself and maybe not the hardware side, but applications. And, I was a very heavy Microsoft Office user for many, many years. And prior to that, like, I'll date myself, but WordPerfect, Quattro Pro, those sorts of things. And it's really funny now because I've lived in that Google world so much that I'll just do things in Sheets that I'm like, yeah, I know I can do this in Excel, but there's just enough of a user interface difference that I'm like, I can't remember sometimes because my level of familiarity just went all one way. And it's like, I would rather use Google Sheets because that's what we use at work. I don't really care about using anything else anymore because it gets the job done for me. And when someone asks me something about Excel, I'm like, oh yeah, just give me a second, because I can't think, because I don't use it every day anymore.
There's a couple of syntax changes that you need to like realign your brain for.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a UI thing, and it's certain things that I can't recall like I used to be able to. I don't know if you guys have similar things with the software side of it, or maybe it's just me.
I mean, I pretty much have started to just use the Google Suite. Funny enough, the job that I'm starting, I've got to use all Microsoft Office. So I'm like, all right, let's get back in that frame of mind. But it's not too bad. It's just like you said, it takes a second, and it's like, all right, let me think about this. Oh yeah, okay, this is how you do it. But aside from that, yeah, man, it's it's all fairly. My biggest thing is now I'm so behind on Windows because I've been pretty much Mac only, and then just dabbling with Windows here and there when I have to. Some of the easy stuff that I used to be able to do, that I used to know by heart, I'm like, oh crap. And I got to sit there and think about it for a minute. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is how you do that. Like with Peyton's, Peyton has my old laptop. It's like a gaming laptop. And he's like, Uncle Bobby, it needs drivers. So I'm like, all right. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the driver settings at? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's stuff like that too. Like, we still have some Windows deployment at work, but it's like so minimal compared to, our Chrome deployment that, and I've been exclusively using Chromebooks now myself, pretty much for a decade plus, which is crazy to think about. I mean, we were one of the first orders of them. When we got out of testing phase at Google, they tested them like, I think 2010, 2011. I actually tried to get one of the pilot ones, but they went for sale in 2012, and we ordered in October of 2012. So really, that was my first foray, and I've been that way ever since. It just, did everything I needed it to do, and I forced myself to be like, you know what, I can do this, and if I can do it, leading the technology for everyone, then you can too. Because if I couldn't do it, then I wasn't going to force anyone else to.
Right.
That's how I kind of viewed it. Plus, there was a bit of a cost effective in the deployment thing. Hey, there's a lot more to it than just that, but that was kind of it. But no, I just think that's such an interesting thing, Brooks, you brought up too about the not knowing the frequencies. So
Right.
I'm ham radio certified. So I had to learn all
nice,
sorts
man.
about frequencies of things I didn't want to know about before, but
Yeah,
now I do.
to make sure the FCC doesn't knock on your door.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of got certified against my will. So that's all I'm saying.
So then why are we not broadcasting right now, Tom?
Yeah, we should be on the AM FM spectrum, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the spectrum, all right, but
Yeah, that's a different spectrum, Bobby. So speaking of stupid spectrum stuff, I have a tidbit of like old school knowledge for you guys that might blow your minds a little bit. So you guys remember the old green and purple plugs for mice and keyboards, right? PS2
Oh yeah,
ports.
PS2s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the plug changed to a USB-A, right, at some point, and now everything's USB-A. But they literally, because engineers like me are lazy, they literally changed none of the communication protocol. So everything is exactly the same. And if you remember, there used to be converters, right, to convert from USB-A to PS2.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've still haven't done it. I tested this recently. I had an FPGA, which is like a little microcontroller that you can program. And I was like, I wonder if this works, right? And so I plugged in a brand new USB keyboard that I got. I got like a Logitech G15 or something, G something keyboard. And I was like, I wonder if this interface is exactly the same. And I started pressing keys, and it's the exact same interface. Like nothing has changed in like 35 years with keyboard interfaces.
That's
So
that's
isn't
crazy.
isn't that crazy? Like we're
Yeah.
still using the same stuff, and it's good because I can teach my students how it works. Like if they were to hook it up to an oscilloscope and actually see the waveforms, like
Mhm.
like look, this has been the same way for 35 years. No one's changed this. Do you have a better way to do it? If you do, patent it.
That was the fat one, the 5-pin then. The one that was like the precursor to the PS2. Because PS2 is 6-pin, isn't it?
PS2 is, yeah, I think it's 6-pin, but only 4 of them are used.
Yeah, so like the one that was before that, there's a fatter one. What's that called?
Oh yeah, I do remember that one. It was on like Amigas and Commodores. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
I had no idea what that plug is called. Dude,
Yeah. So no, years ago we uncovered an Amiga 2000 HD at work, and I believe it was a 91 model, best I could tell. But that's what it used. It used the fat, I call it a fat PS2. I don't know what, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's I did not have a keyboard around to test it, but the computer fired up fine. And I still have it. I'm getting ready. I'm going to put it in my office. I might order a keyboard for it. But what kills me is those IBM computers from the early 80s, I believe, used a very similar one or the same one. We had about 25 of those mechanical keyboards that I found when I first started working for the district. And you guys know that those are worth some money now. Everyone loves mechanical keyboards.
Oh yeah.
You guys would take a guess where ours ended up?
I'm gonna say
trash, probably.
the dumpster.
Yeah. Yep. They were cleaning out some space because they needed space to store copy paper. And 25 of them.
So speaking of ancient hardware that's worth a ton of money now, the Sony Trinitron TVs, like the holy grail of CRTs. My grandparents
that's a throwback. Yeah.
My grandparents had a giant one, and they were like, "Hey, you want this? We're gonna toss it if you don't want it." And I didn't have room to take it with me at the time. I'm like, "Nah, I want it."
Dude, my phone works. Like, just call me. We'll figure it out, dude.
But this was this was like 2012 or so. And I was up in funny enough, I was in South Carolina visiting them. Now I live in South Carolina. But I was in South Carolina visiting them, and they were like, "Yeah, do you want this?" I was like, "I do, but I don't have room in my car." I'm like, "All right, well, we're gonna give it to donation." Then I was like, "All right, I guess." And they donated it, and now I really wish I had it.
I'm not part of the group, but they always come with my feed on Facebook is the CRT Collective. And part of it's funny to me because there's people that go buck wild over like the strangest things. They're like, "Hey, yeah, I found this like all-in-one Batman DVD combo, whatever," and they're like so happy about it, and it's like whatever. But there's other people that like they show off some like really cool retro CRTs. Man, it's cool stuff. Like stuff that obviously predated us even, but
Right.
Yeah.
My favorite is the I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a ball, and
ooh,
the screen is in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. I know
And
exactly what you're talking about.
it sits on like a little base, and but the whole tube and everything is just this ball.
Yeah, it's called a JVC video sphere.
Yes.
Yes,
I love those.
I've seen that on my X feed actually.
Those things are cool. Yeah, try to buy one. They're
Yeah, no.
they're cool though. The one other thing I like too, I've seen people take those older ones. I know you guys seen this too, like whether it's Facebook X, whatever. But they'll hook up gaming systems to them, and like they'll show up like they might only show up in like 4 colors, but they work, and it's really cool, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool looking.
That was
I think I saw that one on. I was like browsing on. I don't know if do you guys know what Nixie clocks are? The like old school clocks with the vacuum tubes at the top for the display.
Yeah.
That like retro style is coming back big, and like I saw a couple people that like, you know, hey, I found this box. It's mainly from the old Soviet Union. Like people like post to the internet where they found this box of like old vacuum tubes that were used in the Soviet Union like 30 years ago, and all of the tubes still work.
No kidding. That's cool.
It's crazy. And then they put together clocks with them or whatever displays they want. It's really cool looking.
Yeah, I've seen those come up in feeds. Those things are neat looking too. They're probably not something I would buy, but still pretty cool.
I think a project that Kent and I are going to do is we're going to build one together for funsies.
Are you? Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Actually, speaking of kind of building stuff, Bob Brooks and I talked on the phone last night for a little bit, and it reminded me of something you and I talked about. I think it'd be kind of a cool thing to dive into a little bit.
Daycare Fight Club?
Brooks and I, what's that?
Daycare Fight Club?
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. I mean, no.
Don't talk about it. Rule number 1, Bobby.
No, Brooks and I were talking, and you know, Bob, you and I have talked about this before. I still have my fat PS2, and we're talking about the PlayStation 2, not the other PS2 that we just talked about. But Brooks still has his too, and I said, you know, Bob is throwing some stuff at me about, you know, getting all the ROMs and legally getting the ROMs on there. But
right,
you know more about this than I do, and I tried to think, how does that thing boot to that?
So you can buy a memory card that's already formatted on Amazon. It's called Free McBoot, and you just buy it. It's like, I want to say like $9, $10, something like that. And once you have your hard drive set up and everything, and you've got all the stuff loaded that you want on your hard drive, you just have that Free McBoot card plugged in, and it automatically loads into a launcher, and then you can go through and start whatever game you want.
Okay, good. So I did remember that correctly. I did say, because I told you last night that was the memory card. I just couldn't remember much more.
You had it right. Good.
In my brain sometimes, guys.
And then with the fat ones, what you want to do is you want to get there's a fan brand called Noctua. I'm gonna kill this fucking. Damn, I missed it. There's this big ass mosquito flying around, and I thought I had it the last time because we leave the back door open when it's nice out. But anyway, there's this fan brand that you can actually buy 3D printed.
Oh yeah, I see that Noctua.
Yeah, there's a 3D printed like holder for it, so a bracket that you can. It's very easy to. It's got the 2 pins. You pull the plug on the old one, take it out, install the bracket, put the new fan in, and then plug it in, and it helps keep the temperature down, because the big hard drives, well, even the solid state, if you use a converter, they end up generating a lot of heat in the old PS2. So the new fans help to keep things cool and keep them running. Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, that was great. So I grabbed a copy of Hit and Run, Simpsons Hit and Run for PS2, and it worked fine. I got a copy of 2K5. Guess what does not work fine?
Bummer.
So disappointed.
That sucks, dude.
So
Is
that's kind of what eluded me to kind of circling back around it. It's like, yeah, I kind of want to just do the hard drive ROM thing now because screw the optical.
So now, is it a problem with the disc itself, or do you think it's something with the optical drive?
It's got to be with the disc itself because the only things I have to test, I have 3 other games that I found for one. Well, Hit and Run it works fine. Manhunt 2 works fine, and Silent Hill 2 works fine. So,
Dude, I was just gonna mention like the games that I still have. I still have Twisted Metal Black. I have Manhunt, the original Manhunt. Obviously, can't play that yet. But
Next year.
one game that he does like is the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, the little like gauntlet style games. Like he loves those, and so we play them pretty regularly too.
yeah, those Manhunt games, man, they can't make those again.
No. Well, the
No, they
funniest thing
cannot.
is they made Manhunt 2 for the Wii, and
Oh yeah,
you gotta put the bag over the dude's head with the nunchuck and
nunchuck.
the Wii remote. Like,
And then like, what did you have to do? Like go back and forth if you had the razor wire with your Wii remotes to like
I
cut the
think
dude's head off or whatever?
I never played it. Like, I can't say that I've played it, so I can't give a firsthand
Oh,
account.
we gotta look this up now.
Like,
Yeah, I gotta figure this out.
Manhunt 2, Wiimote controls. Yeah, I remember the bag one. That certainly yeah, Wiimote and nunchuck in hand. Yeah, then that's what you could do a lot of stuff with it. That's absolutely crazy.
well, dude, you know what it's like? It's
We're training cereal.
funny.
All I see is Wiimote, nunchuck, and hand. This one thing this was posted years ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
I see it too.
Use a pair of pliers to clamp onto an enemy's testicles. Fantastic.
Well, dude, between that game and Mad World, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mad World at all, but that game was pretty brutal too. It was a black and white game, and the only color in it was red when you would kill somebody.
Kill someone. Yeah, I remember that game.
And it was brutal. Like, you killed people in brutal ways. Like, everybody was worried about all the different games on PS2 and PS3 and Xbox 360 and stuff. You needed to look at the Wii. The Wii was the real menace.
The Wii was the sleeper cell.
Yeah.
We talked about this a while ago too, Brooks. This was a funny one. Do you remember Night Trap?
What is that?
You don't remember Night Trap?
that.
That was the basically the adult live action game that came out with Sega CD. What, 90,
93, 94.
Yeah. So Night Trap was like a big no-no. Like, there was a lot of people against it, whatever, when it first released. Fast forward all these years, and they re-released it for the Switch.
And that was what? Isn't that what?
That's some sick programmer that's like, I'm just going to port this and slide it under the radar, and nobody will notice.
I just
Well, wait a second. Didn't Limited Run do a version of Night Trap?
yeah, but no one got it.
Yeah, that's true. They're still waiting for it.
Dude,
but no,
I just looked this up. You know what it looks like to me? It reminds me of The Seventh Guest. Do you guys remember that horror game where you're
Yep.
stuck in the mansion and you got to find the way out with all of the puzzles, and all the puzzles are super creepy with skulls and weird stuff.
Well, that's what that's kind of like what this was, except for it was creepy guys and like looking in the windows and stuff, and it was but I feel like Richie has it, and I'm not making not knocking Richie, but I feel like he has the original one, and I think he has the re-release. But isn't that what Tommy Tallarico, why he made the Amico, was because that game was on the Switch and he wanted to make a family-friendly console?
I think that's what I think so. Something goofy like that.
See, it all comes back to Tommy Tallarico.
Yeah, like you guys needed to give me more ammunition to hate the dude.
Well, actually, too, the funny thing was when we talked about this with Night Trap, another game, Brooks, that we talked about that you might ring a bell, Mad Dog McCree.
Oh yeah.
And so that was another, the live action shooter. Because I think wasn't that another limited run too, wasn't it, Bob?
That was, yeah. Yeah. Dude, wait, Brooks. So the best thing about limited run, do you remember the CDI?
The what? Say that again.
The CDI?
No, I don't remember that. What's that?
So the CDI was when Nintendo and Phillips, after Nintendo left Microsoft or left Sony in the middle of the development of the PlayStation, they partnered with Phillips CDI, and they were going to work together on the CD add-on for the Super Nintendo, which never came about. But because they had signed a contract with them, Phillips was able to use Nintendo's characters in games for their system called the CDI. Well, what it resulted in were some of the most god-awful games of all time, which two of them being Zelda games and two of them being like Hotel Mario and like Mario is Missing or something like that. And then
I remember Mario's Missing. I remember seeing that.
So the two Zelda games, there's one called Wand of Gamelon, and then I forget what the other one's called because it's so fucking terrible.
Brooks, I'll throw a screenshot in chat of one of the Zelda CDI just so you can laugh your ass off.
I'll do it. Is it the Link one? Is
Yep.
it the Link one? Thank you. Dude, it's so bad. It's the games are so bad. And the voice acting is just as bad as you can imagine. Like, however bad you think it is, it's 10 times worse.
It's worse.
Well, so Limited Run not only re-released those games, but they made a facsimile of the controller and re-released that also.
Oh my god!
This is Limited Run in a nutshell. So I know you've heard us talk shit on them for the majority of our episodes that we've recorded so far, but that's just gives you an idea.
So gives us a lot of fodder.
I put Zelda Wand of Gamelon into my search engine, and it aggregated a few stats for you. 4 out of 5 rating on eBay, but 35% of people like this video game. People are buying it, but they freaking hate it.
35, but the 35% that like it, I think that's how we know. That's how we do predictive crime analysis. Like, if you like Wand of Gamelon, you're going to commit a heinous crime at some point in your lifetime.
There's a 1-to-1 correlation.
Yes. Like, you're into animal husbandry, but not for the good reasons.